And Eric Osterman there at the Superbook said, we did see some money come in on Marshall at 2.5. So he said we were ahead of the market with the move. Moneyline bettors, however, are kind of taking a lean towards South Florida on this. So the book, although they don't have a lot of wiggle room here, is in a position where needing the favorite to win and not cover, which, as Eric said to me, that's asking a lot when the number's only 2.5.
Well, they can get a rerun of the Georgia Southern Eastern Michigan game. They'll be happy with that.
Sure.
FIU Toledo is interesting because we've got some weather issues, and of all places, you wouldn't expect it, but the Bahamas. They're going to have high winds, might be some precipitation, but it's the winds that are the most concerned. 20 to 40 mile an hour gusts are expected. So the tropical weather can get nasty at times, and it looks like it's going to be for this game. And the market has reacted because they are just playing the living daylights out of the under, and they're taking the dog as well.
Well, the Superbook is trying to get aggressive here, and I didn't look at where the total is at just before we came on.
Dropped
here,
into the 50s.
Right. Talking to Eric about it, he said, look, we're trying to entice people to bet the over with the weather. You expect it to be terrible there. So he thinks with that, they have gotten a few bites, and he thinks they're going to need Toledo and the under on this game, believe it or not, even though it's come down quite a bit. They're being aggressive with this and trying to get people to take that high, take the over there.
The interesting thing here is that Toledo's out of the MAC, and the MAC has been just incredibly bad at bowl games. But if you're betting FIU because of the weather, I think that's a mistake because the matchup, particularly with wind factored in, actually does favor Toledo. They're the better team rushing the ball on both offense and defense.
Yeah, I don't see there's always a scenario, but I would expect the Rockets to be able to run the football successfully, rain or shine in this ball game, and that doesn't necessarily bode well for FIU's chances. But again, we teased it earlier. We'll tease it again when we preview Ohio-San Diego State with our marquee matchup later in the show. We'll talk about how bad the MAC has been as a conference. And again last night, where if you watch that game, Northern Illinois was outclassed by UAB.
Yep.
And that's a concern for any MAC team moving forward. And, of course, it's not just you can go back the last 5 years. From a point spread perspective, the Mid-American Conference has been the worst among all the conferences in college football from a point spread perspective.
And, by the way, Toledo lost their bowl game last year 34-0. So at least they should have some motivation for this one. BYU and Western Michigan will match up, and this is one of the real big numbers that's out there. BYU is about a dozen. Here's the thing on this game. BYU is clearly the better football team, but they're just a bad offensive football team. And, I know Western Michigan's they're really mediocre, okay? They had a big winning streak in the middle of the season, bookended by 2 losing streaks. And their quarterback got hurt, Wasink, and the kid that's playing is actually a very good prospect, but he's still pretty inexperienced. But so you look at these teams, match them up, and it's BYU should handle this team pretty easily. But BYU, as a big favorite, that scares the daylights out of me. Their offense is bad enough so they can turn the ball over at some point, give away a touchdown, and not cover.
Yeah, maybe the under makes sense in this one more than the side, perhaps, because I'm not sure what Western's going to be able to do offensively here. But BYU is a team that lacks playmakers. Yeah. They just don't.
When it comes to coach, too.
Well,
I'm sorry, he's got a guy.
You think it's the coach's fault? I think it's the program. I think it's the administrator's fault.
I think it's.
They should be in the Mountain West Conference, and their decision to not be in the Mountain West Conference has been disastrous in every way.
They have one way to fix that, and I'll tell you the way to fix it. And they can do it, too. Take a whole bunch of money, and you go to Mike Leach, who I think would leave Washington State, and is a graduate of BYU, and say, here, bring the offense back to BYU, make us fun to watch again. I got to tell you something. Leach is the type of, yeah, okay, I think I will. And then they wouldn't be the third best team in Utah anymore.
Western Michigan, again, you talk about the MAC conference not doing well in bowls. Western Michigan played Ohio. They lost 59-14. They played Toledo. They lost 51-24. Not capable of getting stops in either ballgame.
Line on this 12.5 at the Superbook, which Eric noted is where we open. He said they're seeing action on both sides, pretty even, but they did get some dog money line on Western Michigan in this game, including a sharp over-the-counter bet at plus 400. Eric said we're just going to need BYU to win outright.
All right, well, they should do that. Houston and Army is interesting because I did not expect this line to go down in view of the fact that Houston lost their quarterback, and Army is just always well prepared for every opponent, it seems. But the market is taking the Cougars, it looks like.
Yeah, this was one where Army opened 3, got as high as 5, actually 5.5, and then they started seeing and then the Superbook started seeing some sharp money on Houston. So and then the Superbook also made some market moves on that as well. Also seeing some Houston money line action on this game. So Eric did say he confirms what you're thinking, Dave, and that is they're going to need Army in this game.
Yeah, and I mean the Cougs played pretty poorly down there, with the exception of that Tulane game. Where they played really well. But,
and by the way, it's interesting to note that is it's not the same option as Army runs, but at least it's an option attack, and they actually did well in that game.
Sure, and Army, again, you talk about a team that, yeah, you like them as a dog, yeah, you like them, but is there a team you want to lay more than a field goal with? That hasn't been their point spread role this year. That hasn't been their point spread role in any recent season, and down the stretch, they were not money makers, even though the Black Knights, you can count on them coming to play. I think the quotes I was reading from the Houston side of the equation that they are excited about the matchup.
Good. I skipped past the Wake Forest-Memphis game. Wake Forest, very impressive to end the season, winning their way into the bowl by just destroying Duke in their finale. So they're a 6-6 dog that has a chance for a winning season. Memphis, this is a significant loss. Their best player is a running back, and he has decided to skip the bowl game to get ready for the NFL draft, where he'll be one of the top running backs chosen. And that's an impact loss from Memphis. Is it impacting the market?
It may be to a degree. The Superbook opened 3.5, and they're at 3.5 on Memphis right now. Memphis minus 3.5. Action pretty limited at this point, Eric said. But, and this maybe is part of the impact, Wake parlay money has come in. Small decision for the Superbook at this point. Need Memphis. Total also a little bit of an adjustment here, 75-73. But Eric said, man, when you're talking that many points, it's not much. But 75, open 75 down to 73.
And one thing I like to look for in bowl season is teams that played well down the stretch, but were not big money makers during the season. Wake was money loser all year long. I think they finished 4-8 against the number. Because teams like that, there's no betting bandwagon going in. The only people that are going to bet those teams if they find whatever statistical profile or something, and that's why they'll take action. The teams that had bad point spread regular seasons oftentimes go into bowl season a little bit undervalued, and I think that might be the case for the Demon Deacons here.
Duke Blue Devils, with one of the quarterbacks is trying to showcase himself for the NFL draft, and Thomas Jones. He'll go against Troy. What's interesting here is that Duke, once upon a time this season, was unbeaten, had moved into the top 25. We're getting attention as, one of the teams that could, make a run at getting to a major bowl this year. And that went away. They did not play well down the stretch, particularly did well enough to get to a bowl, but now they're playing Troy. Boy, this is a tough motivational spot for David Cutcliffe. He's got the more talented team, Teddy, but I don't know if he's got the team that wants to be there as much as the what did I write something?
Yeah, it's Buffalo against Troy.
Oh, I wrote it. Okay. Yeah, it is Buffalo against Troy.
Yeah, in the Dollar General.
I don't know why I wrote Duke Troy in my notes. Oh, okay.
Duke plays against Temple in the Independence Bowl.
Right. And I think the one I meant to look at here was Buffalo Troy.
Okay.
All right, so Buffalo also has a motivational problem.
Yes.
Because they let that MAC title game get away. And I think that's going to be tough for them to recover from.
And I stepped in front of Troy once this year, and I learned my lesson. Not that the Trojans had a great season, but the defense is there. The quarterback play, mediocre, but they'll draw. They're going to draw on Mobile a lot more than Buffalo will.
Yep.
Although, you talk about Tyree Jackson. That's an NFL talent at QB, and I do worry about I do. We've seen under money, and I can certainly understand that because I think that Troy's defense is their strength. But Jackson's a unique skill set that I'm not sure the Trojans will be ready to shut down.
I don't think this is going to be one of the high volume games.
I don't think so either. But the volume, as Teddy alluded to, with Troy maybe having trouble shutting down Buffalo a little bit. Open Buffalo minus 1.5, up to minus 3. The same sharp player that I alluded to who was on Houston in that Houston Army game is also on. It's actually on Troy here. They had some Troy money come in at 2.5, I should say. And again, the same sharp player who was on Houston. So actually, even though the line has gone 1.5 as high as 3, was opening at 3, down to 1.5. They're going to need Buffalo in this game, it looks like, at this point, and a little bit of sharp play on Houston.
And the books might need a home team here. Louisiana Tech and Hawaii in the Hawaii Bowl. Home game, obviously, for Hawaii. But the market is playing Louisiana Tech, and that's probably because they're the better football team.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a dichotomy, at least here at the here in Vegas at the Superbook anyway. Hawaii opened 1 up to -2. Total's gone up quite a bit here too, 57.5 to 61.5. Eric said they've seen action on both sides. Took some sharp play at La Tech +2, and when they dropped as low as Pick'em, and that's where they started seeing some Hawaii money. But the bet they got at La Tech +2 was a pretty respected player. They're actually, at this point, and again, we've got a little ways to go here, going to need La Tech, which Eric said is good. That's where we want to be on this.
This game closes, pick them or Louisiana Tech 1. I think there's going to be money on the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it close pick them. Yeah. If you like La Tech, I bet them sooner rather than later. And, of course, when you look at Hawaii, who did they beat this year? Colorado State, Navy, Rice, Duquesne, San Jose in overtime, Wyoming, UNLV.
Big comeback to win that game.
And then the finale against San Diego State.
Right.
So they had
San Diego State didn't care about the game.
Yeah, one quality win in theory.
They're not even in my top 100. Mm-hmm. I don't say this to be snotty. They might be the worst 8-win team I've ever had in my power ratings. Mm-hmm. So Rolovich has done a great job to win all the games they were supposed to win. But if Louisiana Tech comes to play, they're just a better team.
Sure. And Hawaii, we've seen more than our fair share of blowouts in Hawaii Bowls when the better team shows up.
Yep. So we'll see.
We've seen it sometimes when the weaker team shows up, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Louisiana Tech gets distracted by all the available things to do in Hawaii and don't play a football game, then Hawaii's going to take advantage of it, and they'll nail them. So that's why they got to play the game. They don't play it on paper. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We will get to some NFL futures, and we'll get you a Joe's Angle of the Day, and it's one of those Ralph Michaels 100% angles that we like so much.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
I'm heading towards 2019 happy and healthy. Why? Because I've been wearing the Good Feet 3-step system for 3 months now, and it's eliminated the words foot pain from my vocabulary. And if you're dealing with foot pain right now, you know how awful it is, especially this time of year. You have all that shopping to do, the parties to attend, putting up and taking down the decorations. That could all lead to neck, back, and leg pain. And the Good Feet expert will get to know you just like they did for me. They want to know what your work environment is like, recreational activities, the footwear you like and typically wear. Why? Well, it's important to properly match you to the appropriate arch support. And then you don't have to wait weeks to get relief. You're going to feel the difference right away. And right now, when you go into the Good Feet store, open 7 days a week, you get $100 free of the Good Feet's patented 3-step system. You'll find Good Feet stores on West Sahara across from Palace Station and on Blue Diamond between Decatur and Valley View. And when you hit one of the Good Feet stores, tell them Cofield sent you in.
At MJ Christensen, you're not dealing with a chain. You're dealing with a locally owned establishment that's been here for years and years. And one of the things you guys pride yourself on, Cliff Miller, that's community involvement.
We are deeply involved. Our company is Vegas born, and we're Vegas strong. And what makes Vegas so strong is all the charitable issues that need to be addressed. And anywhere we can, we try to join hand in hand and lift this community up.
MJ Christensen, located at Boca Park.
Football Central at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino is the place to catch all the football action. Hey, it's Adam Hill from Cofield and Company on ESPN 1100. Join us this Sunday starting at 8 as we go over all the lines with Sportsbook Director Jay Cornegay. Then, stick around to watch all the games on huge HD screens in the Superbook. Bucket specials, food specials, the Bud Light Girls, and your chance to win some super cool prizes. Always free parking. So come hang out at Football Central every Sunday at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Message and data rates may apply.
What if there were a top-ranked business degree that gave you access to world-renowned faculty, leaders, and mentors, but on your schedule? The W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University is now accepting high-quality applicants for its online MBA, Information Management, and Business Analytics Master's programs. Learn more about the W.P. Carey business degrees online For more information, text RANK to 79645. That's RANK to 79645.